shortly because, two commissioners won't be here, but I'd like to still, be able to go through the agenda nonetheless. We can record it, that would be fine, we can keep the phone line on, that would be fine. But just keep in mind, this does not count as an official meeting, so with one commissioner here, we don't have any decision-making powers here, so, but we can listen, and, hopefully the other commissioners can, listen at their own leisure, if it's recorded,
I need
so.
it. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order, very informally, obviously, because it's not an official meeting, but, it's just dodging the rain at the planning commission. Nick walked over, thank you, Nick, for leaving off. But we'll talk a little bit about that too, because that's on the agenda. Okay, anybody need to go to the front of the line before we get started? I know Mr. Allen is here. Do you wanna wait?
No, I'll wait.
Okay, okay,
Go through your thing.
okay. See Gerard Mulcahy is here. Talk a little bit about that too, I think we got something on the agenda. All right, if you'll bear with me, we'll go through these, one by one. Obviously, number one is to dispense with the reading of the minutes, pretty standard.
Actually, the first three are.
Yes. 1, 2, and 3 are obviously very standard and housekeeping measures. If you need a, here you go. No. Dispense with the workshop minutes and to dispense with the minutes of the special meeting. Number 4 is to approve the bills. Number 5 is, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, to transfer monies as listed. Auditor Yoder is here.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. All of these are Board of Health, and basically they're interfund reimbursements for payroll. So where payroll should be paid from different funds, they're going into that. I'll just move on to the next one, to approve additional appropriations. This is also Board of Health, and this is for the Trumbull Memorial Health Foundation High Street Hub Project. And then number 7 is to approve the transfer appropriations. This is for the Sheriff's Office, and this is to increase the supplies account. I'll keep going if you want me to. Number 8 is to adopt the resolution approving the submitted list. These are the then and now. We're still working on getting this ironed out. Chrissy has done a great job with working with our departments and other public officials, but there's still a few stragglers there, so we have some of that. Number 9 is a repeat from last week. It is the alternative tax budget. Now, I wanted to kind of point out a couple of things because we've had to repeat this. There were questions that were raised at the commissioners' meeting.
Yes.
One of the things that should be noted about the alternative tax budget is this is not the final budget. This is one part of that process. One of the concerns was that because we have, things that are over the estimated resources, we don't have to worry about that at this point. That's not a today problem. Everything that we used as expenditure or as budgeted expenditures on there came actually from what the departments and the public officials have put into munis. So actually for the commissioners to review. That's a wish list. So it's really important that we understand that's not the purpose of this. Those things will get worked out, probably change this is based on the June budget that folks needed to submit. Those things will get worked out. Some will be changed, probably all of them will be changed before November, the November budget. And then as we do that process and working with the different departments and public officials who rely on the general fund, we'll work those things out. This is just preliminary. It provides a guide for us. It provides a way for us to see where we need to make changes, those kinds of things. So I wanted to make sure that that was absolutely clear because someone objected to the fact that we have things that are not within the budgeted amount. That's not going to happen yet. That's a future process. Then, did you have a question?
I don't.
Okay.
Let's clear that up very,
all right,
very
and then capital asset policy, I wanted to clarify again, because there were there were some things that were said last week, this is again a repeat, all right? There were things that were said last week that were not true. And one of those is that we did this, we presented this to the commissioners because we were out of compliance in some way. I want the commissioners to understand and the public to understand, we have in our office a particular person who is responsible for this, for capital assets, among other things. She's retiring at the end of September. As part of that process, as we prepare for her to retire, we're not actually filling that position. We're sort of redistributing it among other staff. As part of that, we're examining all the processes that she's involved in and making changes and updating, because this is a great time to do that. When you have someone who's leaving and you have new people who are taking over, it's a good idea to review the processes. We started to do that. We realized this policy had not been updated since 2009. It was certainly within compliance, but there's better practices than there were back in 2009. Things have changed. The cost of things has gone up. So the threshold for it becoming a capital asset is higher. Those kinds of things are there. We cleaned things up. We made it easier so that those who have to administer this can do it in as efficient a way as possible. The question was raised, who is administering this policy? This is an accounting policy. So it's administered, first of all, by every department, the fiscal officer or fiscal clerks in each department, as well as by my office, who is sort of the hub for that, making sure everybody understands it. So I wanted to make that really clear, because it was said that it was something that it wasn't, and I wanted to make sure people understood exactly what it was.
And I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding that this was something new. This is something that's been reworked, but it's not something new.
Absolutely, it's not new.
For quite a long time.
We made changes. The old policy was done in 2009, and again, it's the commissioner's policy, but even back in 2009, because of our offices being that hub.
Correct.
My office wrote the policy.
That's
My
right.
office submits the policy. It makes perfect sense for a policy that is an accounting policy for the county to be written by those who are going to administer it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Auditor.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to number 11, accept with gratitude the bequest of Ms. Roberta Lavorni for use by the Trumbull County Dog Warden and Trumbull County Dog Pound, and to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Trumbull County Board of Commissioners, to execute all documents necessary to accept the bequest on behalf of Trumbull County and the Trumbull County Dog Warden. This is another example of somebody that, in our community that just, their heart is with our pound, and they realize we're doing, new and improved things there. And, did you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, we're just really fortunate, for her to gift us, Michelle Goss, Trumbull County Dog Warden.
Thank you.
Sorry. We're really fortunate to, receive this gift from her estate. This is the second one we've received, so it lets us know that we are, moving in the right direction, and, we're progressing out there, so
And
we're
Michelle,
excited.
I will say, prior to you getting there, I don't remember that ever happening. So this is, I think that speaks to what we're trying to do, the outreach in the community. It speaks to what we're certainly gonna invest in the new facility,
Sure.
and, the work that all the wardens do there,
Yep.
and making this basically a zero-kill, pound, so, or as close as we can to it. So,
Yes,
hats off to you, and thank you
thank you.
to the Lavorni family.
Yes.
Okay, number 12, to approve change order number 1, and final with Corilla Contractors, for the countywide road improvement project on South Canal Street, the drainage upgrade. Is there anyone here from the highway engineer's office, or anyone on the phone that wants to comment on this? Anyone on the phone? Okay, moving on, to number 13, to concur with the Trumbull County Engineer to grant the special annual supplier fleet permit for fleet vehicles to transport aggregate concrete, construction goods, or other like materials, not to exceed 80,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. The site's located upon, load posted Trumbull County roadways, requested by the company listed, and that is Hard Knocks ENT Inc. Again, these are a lot of housekeeping things. The engineer puts these on, and they're sort of pass-throughs for our board, but, Number 14 is to concur with the Trumbull County Engineer to close the following roadway. Is Braceville Robinson Road. The closing date will be August 17th, 2024. The closing time will be 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the recommended detour for anybody listening would be west on State Route 5, north on State Route 534, and east on State Route 82. That's road closing. And number 15 is to approve the personnel action. This was on the agenda last week. For lack of consensus, it did not pass. Ms. Mimosa Long to the position of custodian at pay range 3, 0 years, at $14.45 per hour with the maintenance department, effective Monday, August 12th, pursuant to the authorized job posting March 8th through March 18th, 2024. Phil, did you want to say anything about that?
No, this just a repeat of last week. We did our due diligence homework, we interviewed her, we went through a process, we graded her, we scored her, we threw her through the ringer for drug and alcohol, and here we go.
And those
It can happen.
drug and alcohol screening came back fine.
Yeah.
That's one of the major things,
Yeah.
unfortunately, anymore, but appreciate you both, Alex as well. Number 16, to approve the purchase of the crossing easement from the Youngstown Belt Railroad Company, in the total amount of $16,000, referencing parcel 23B for the Western Reserve Greenway, as part of the Great Ohio Lake to River Greenway in Trumbull County, Ohio Phase 4, and to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board, Trumbull County Commissioners, to sign the crossing agreement and the administrative settlement on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. Zach, you are here.
Yeah, Zachary Savetti, Executive Director, Trumbull County Metro Parks. So this is another purchase for the right-of-way for Phase 4. This is from the Youngstown Beltway Rail Company, as it says, which is a part of the Genesee, Wyoming company, a railroad company. So this amount, yes, while $16,000 is more than the appraised value, it's less than what they were asking at $35,000. So we did negotiate them down to $16,000. So it is a net savings for the county, versus what the railroad company wanted. So number 16 going to operate into 17. Do you have any other questions?
No, just that, obviously, this is the last leg in the last phase of the Lake to River Greenway.
So this is one of the last three.
One of the last three.
Yep.
That's gonna connect, Honing, Trumbull, Asheville, Lake County. Everybody knows how much it's used, everyone knows, I venture to say everybody knows somebody that does use it if they don't use it themselves, because it is, whether you're walking your dog, whether you're riding your bike, this is something that the commissioner started back in
Before 2000?
before 2000 with Julie Green, spearheading it, and yourself, and you came on board, and, we certainly appreciate it. When we're negotiating with the railroads, and I know that's difficult to do.
Yes.
What's that process like, Zach? Talk about that a little bit.
It's difficult because at any time they can just say, no, we're not doing it, and just walk away, and then,
Then we're left with, obviously looking at new plans and new.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. New plans and redesign fees and all of that. Or you can take them to court, but there's,
Right.
They have endless pockets to do that, so.
So I think we're fortunate if they were asking $35,000, we got them down to $16,000, and we can proceed with the project.
Correct. And then we have our last two right-of-way acquisitions that we need to take care of, which will be Ohio Edison, and I'm hoping by the end of August, we have that one secure. We have one last item that we have to clear up with them. And they have indicated that they're taking appraised value, so hopefully, that's still the case. And then we're still working through Norfolk Southern on a rail line with them, so, they said they would have an answer for us by the middle of September.
Okay, very good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep. And number 17 is mine too.
Oh, okay, so 17, to approve the in lieu program credit purchase agreement for the Western Reserve Greenway Bike Trail Phase 4, located in Howland and Weathersfield Townships and Warren and Niles sites, in the amount of $208,000. Only 20%, which was $41,600, is required for payment. and to authorize Denny Malloy, Board President, to sign on behalf of the Trumbull County Commissioners and to approve the transfer of funds necessary for this purchase.
Yeah, so Commissioner.
Zach Svet.
Yeah, Zachary Svet, Executive Director of Trumbull County Metro Parks. So this item is for, because we impacted some low-grade wetlands, that we have to, do a credit, in a program to essentially replace them. They're Category 1, wetlands that they're more like pocketed wetlands than like a big wetland complex. So going 4 miles on the bike trail, you know, we're just impacting that type of territory at some point.
Sure.
So this is, you know, within open highlights and easement areas, you know, some of it is within that redesign section where the Port Authority property is with Kimberly-Clark. So, you know, there's some things that were just unavoidable
Yeah.
in terms of, you know, this type of work.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Number 18, to establish the creation of the Women's Grant Fund, known as Fund Number 144, for use by the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department for specialized docket subsidy project funds for Warren's Therapeutic Docket. This action, coming from the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department, so it's just creation of a new fund, nothing. Martha, do we know anything about that, or is that just?
It's just a.
Routine.
Yeah, it's routine.
Yes. Okay, number 19, to authorize the planning commission to prepare and submit a pre-application to the Ohio Department of Development for the PY 2024 CDBG Residential Public Infrastructure Program for a maximum amount not to exceed $750,000 for the proposed Pendleton-Gilmer sanitary sewer project located in the low to moderate income consent decree area of Meadowbrook, which is located in Warren Township, and to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to sign and execute any and all documents related to the pre-application. Nick.
Nick Coggins, Trumbull County Planning Commission. This is, exactly what it says. It's given us authorization to go after a residential public infrastructure grant, submit the required pre-application forms. This will be in partnership with the sanitary engineers, Pendleton Gilmore Sewer Project. This will give us the ability to help low to moderate income households connect to that sanitary sewer. So this will pay for the low income housing to be able to actually use the sewer that our sanitary engineers can be cleaning.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Commissioner, this is the second part of that project out there in Meadowbrook. And since we didn't since the timing doesn't work out for us to get that CDBG grant for the first part, we're trying to get ahead of the game. And let's this round of CDBG, let's go after the second part of Meadowbrook and try to get these funds, obtained so that we're not stuck in the same position next year.
Thank you. Okay. Moving along to number 20, to accept maintenance bond, issued by Lexington National Insurance Corporation for 9 sanitary lateral connections for low to moderate income households in the Heat and Shoot, project area funded through PY, 2022 CDBG Residential Public Infrastructure Grant, and, also the American Rescue Plan, which the commissioners allocated funds for, which is installed by TK Excavating. TK Excavating requested final payment for the completed work inspected and approved by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer's Office. Maintenance bond is in the amount of 20%, $14,774 of the final project cost, which is $73,870, and is valid for a period of 2 years commencing July 23rd, 2024, and ending July 23rd, 2026.
Nick Coggins, Trumbull County Planning Commission. This is, again, another project in partnership with the sanitary engineer, who they did the Heat and Shoot area in Weathersfield, putting sanitary lines. This was helping the low to moderate income households connect to that sanitary sewer. This is one of 4 contractors that were awarded bids. They've completed their work, and with all construction, we require a 2-year maintenance bond for the completion of all the work. So this is, they finished up with the Heat and Shoot sanitary lateral connections for their portion of it. We have 3 more contractors that will be submitting the same thing, maintenance bond for all their work completed for that sanitary lateral assistance to the, sanitary sewer installed in Eaton Chute area.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, number 21, to authorize, the renewal of the submitted citizen participation policy for PY 2024. The citizen participation policy is a required element of the county's community development block grant program. Trumbull County Planning Commission is responsible for carrying out public outreach activities related to the CDBG program. The policy ensures that all persons living in Trumbull County have access to information pertaining to CDBG programs, particularly those programs that target low to moderate income persons. In addition, a detailed procedural process is defined within the policy for registering citizen complaints. This policy takes effect on September 1st, 2024, for program year 2024, and extends through August 31st, 2025. So this is something that we do. It's customary and routine that we have to do, for the CDBG program, for these types of grants, and that we have to have that public input whenever we do these things, right, Nick?
Yes, Nick Coggins, Planning Commission. So this, exactly that. It is a policy that we're required to have through the state, Ohio Department of Development. They guide our citizen participation policy, and we have a participation policy that we need to have locally, that we update annually if anything has changed with the state's guidance. We're required to renew it every year to have it in place, so that anytime we go after grants, we have a certain participation policy that we follow.
Yes.
As far as public hearings, and we intake complaints from any, and it's all written down in guidance. And again, this is just a renewal that we have every year, and pretty standard going forward.
Yes, thank you. 22, to authorize, the Trumbull County Planning Commission to submit a revolving loan fund, RLF Community Development Project pre-application, dedicating up to $200,000 to the Ohio Department of Development, Office of Community Development, to use with the proposed Meadowbrook Sanitary Sewer Project area, for the household connections activity. Warren Township, census tract is listed to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to sign any and all required documentation. The RLF committee is scheduled to meet August 6th. We just met, 2024, at 9:45 a.m. regarding said proposal, and it passed unanimously. Obviously, when we talk about the Meadowbrook project and, all the sanitary hookups that we need there, we talked about it at the last workshop with Gary. This was a way that we can sort of plug in the hole and fill in the gap that, the funding gap that we needed. Everyone on the committee was absolutely, obviously in agreement. We realize this is a consent decree project that we have to get done. So we're able to cobble this money together. I don't think we're gonna need the entire $200,000, but we may.
Right.
Because I think, Gary, you've already secured $130,000 on this?
Well, it all depends on another project on here on Stillwagon that's coming up later on this agenda. But anyway, there's quite a few different scenarios. But our holdup on Meadowbrook was not having any funds available for those house connections.
Yes.
To prevent us from going to the public hearing and to bid it out. But now that we have this, we're able to move forward on it, so.
And the RLF committee, the state urges us to spend that money down, right, Nick? I mean, that's something, we can't just, and with 290, I think, thousand, I don't know the exact number offhand, but around $290,000 in that fund, I know that we have to spend that down, and what better way to do that than the Meadowbrook project?
Yeah, Nick Coggins, Planning Commission. This is, like Gary mentioned, phase 1 of Meadowbrook, we couldn't go after the residential public infrastructure grant because of the timing. This fills that gap to help the low to moderate income households connect. We may not need that whole balance, and as Commissioner Cantala Mesa mentioned, we do have a balance of about $298,000. Technically, that is state funds through the Ohio Department of Development that they allow us to use for revolving loan fund and public infrastructure, should we get an approval and a waiver. And that's what we're doing right now. We have a balance, it's a little bit high. We have a project that is well-deserving, qualifies under the low to moderate income clientele. So, we're gonna use those funds up, towards the infrastructure. And, did make mention at the RLF committee, I do believe it's worth saying again, is even though we have a balance and we're using that, that is not gonna hurt any businesses should they want to go after revolving loan funds for any of their projects. If they do go after revolving loan funds and we do not have enough balance in our account, there is still an open program in the state that has open applications, meaning we can apply at any time. There's not a deadline, an application cycle. Anytime a project comes forward, we're able to apply for any funds that exceed our current balance. We can apply to the state for those additional funds. And that is an active open program with an open cycle. So this will not hurt or preclude any businesses from possibly getting revolving loan funds. And it will help our low to moderate income clientele in a consent decree area.
At rates that are lower than most of the banks, right? I mean,
Correct,
yeah, so it's something that our, businesses need to look at. We need to continue to promote that we have this option available. I know there's a little bit more red tape when we do that, when businesses do this type of loan, but you know, if it fits their needs, this is something that they can do, less, you know, expense than they would through a bank. So this is something that we offer to small business, and it's been very successful, so thank you for administering that. Okay, moving on to, 23, right?
Yep.
Resolution authorizing expenditure for responding to or mitigating the public health emergency from the American Rescue Plan Act funds, for the Girard Multi-Generational Center. And is that on the back there, Lisa?
Yeah,
Yes.
go down.
So, this is a one-time grant to the Girard Multi-Generational Center in the amount of $34,844 to assist in the funding the organization's senior citizen services. The project is hereby authorized and shall be paid for from ARPA funds. Obviously, Girard Multi-Generational Center is a nonprofit organization in Girard that has been there for a long time and serves a great amount of seniors in and around the Girard area and all over the county, really. Laura, did you want to talk about the Multi-Gen Center and its impact on Trumbull County?
Sure. Thank you. Laura Carey, Director of the Girard Multi-Generational Center. So we have been a nonprofit in business, since, 2001, and we have been serving senior citizens, throughout the county. And like many other senior centers, you know, the pandemic definitely impacted us, and we had usage go down. We weren't providing as many programs, that type of thing. After the pandemic, things have ramped back up, and we were looking at, you know, 2-year budget program, and this $34,000 actually helps us provide the services to seniors in health, education, wellness, socialization, and social services. So this additional money actually helps us to continue to provide and meet the demand from the seniors in our county.
I think one of the, obviously, the pandemic was hard on everybody, but one of the hardest things was, it was hard on seniors, especially with these activities that they relied so heavily on at the center. I think this is exactly what, you know, the ARPA money is meant to do, is to go back and fund organizations just like this that have such an impact in our community. Obviously, with the senior levy, we assist you as well. You have your own levy as well, but your clientele is always soaring, and there's a lot of participation, a lot of programs, and we just appreciate what you do out there, and we're happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Okay, number 24, is the housekeeping for that, I think, is to enter into an agreement by and between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners of Trumbull County, Ohio, and the Girard Community Committee, Inc., doing business as the Girard Multi-Generational Center, as approved by Baker, Duper, Beck, Wiley, and Matthews, our ARPA legal counsel. provide the funds for the Girard Multi-Generational Center to continue serving the demands of the clientele it serves as described in Exhibit A. So that's gonna take care of that. Agenda item number 25, to adopt a resolution declaring the necessity of constructing the Stillwagon Road Water Improvements Project number 1-W-19 for the Trumbull County Combined Water District within the Trumbull County Sewer District located in Weathersfield Township. Special note, Thursday, September 12th, 2024 at 7 p.m. is hereby fixed as the time in the McKinley Heights Fire Station, which is located at 2229 Gardenland Avenue, Niles, Ohio, as the place for the hearing. Were objections to or acceptance of said project, to the tentative assessments or to the boundaries of the assessment district, or same as outlined in the resolution. So it's a lot to say that we have a public hearing scheduled for this, correct?
Yes, Commissioner. Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. First thing, Lisa, that McKinley in that note, see where you missed that, we missed the capital K there.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that was
Eagle
your
eye.
end or mine.
Eagle eye.
That might have been my mistake when I
I
sent it
know,
over,
it's
so I don't
too,
know.
but I'm
Yeah.
like
No, that's good.
proud of Gary for
Okay.
noticing it.
All right, yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Gary.
All right, Commissioners, yeah, as I discussed this with you at last week's workshop, we wanna go ahead and move forward with the Stillwagon public hearing. And, it involves, 3,336 feet of, water mains, 26 service connections, total cost $764,000. It was already allocated $250,000 of ARP, but as discussed with you last week, we wanna take some of the residual funds from the other projects and increase that amount up to $365,000 total of ARP, leaving a debt of $399,000, and that equates to, just shy of $60 per front foot and $2,000, service connection assessments. So we wanna present this to the residents out there. My understanding, this is for an assessment project, that these assessments are relatively low, and let's, determine whether or not they're still interested in the project.
I don't think they're gonna see lower than $60 a square foot, especially, you know, with all the work you've put into it. It's just difficult with water projects, you can never really tell.
Yes.
In my time here, and Gary's time here, you can speak to it more than me. We haven't had a lot of water projects, go to public hearing and pass, so, I hope that the people, in the district realize, that this is, an affordable gift in some ways, they can utilize, and hopefully it happens. If not, we'll have to utilize those funds elsewhere, as we talked about before.
Right, yes, and the ARP is paying, about 45% of the total cost, so I don't think they're ever gonna, if they want water, this is their opportunity to obtain it.
Because there's never gonna be a time where we're able to allocate that much money towards this.
Yes,
But we'll wait and see for the public hearing.
right.
Okay, number 26, to accept the termination of, William Cover on probation in the position of, TV Inspector, Grouting Assistant Technician, Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department, effective Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Hate seeing that, but what's the deal there?
Bob, do you wanna take that one?
Commissioner Bob Myrano, Sanitary Engineers. Mr. Cover has been here about 78 days, and thus far, he's reported off 6 times. So actually, from our course of training that you attended, they talked about, employees' attendance typically does not get better after the probationary period. So within 120 days, we.
Moving on, number 27, to receive and place on file, the June 2024 monthly operating financial report for the Trumbull County Transit and Western Reserve Transit Authority, as submitted by Mike Salamone, Administrator in Trumbull County Transit, and, that should be a comma, maybe, Administrator, Trumbull County Transit and Diane Siswood-Jerkovic, Senior Levy Administrator. Diane, did you wanna, just housekeeping, right?
It is just housekeeping, and it's just an update. This is Diane Jerkovic, Senior Levy Administrator. Just to update you, our Ohio grant
Yes.
that was, extended to June of 2024, we've used it completely. We're now just using our local share money to finish us up through the end of the year. I do have some accounting updates to do with the auditor's office.
You know, those grants are obviously a godsend, and they help so much, but they also create a need that you need to fill once those grants expire. That's the problem with that,
Well,
is that you're also looking for
our
other funding.
local share money
Fortunate,
that we promised, we hope that would meet the demand if the grant were not to be approved. But that's also diminishing our carryover funds.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why the senior levy program is asking for the replacement levy,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that we can afford a more robust
And all of a
transportation.
sudden, you have all this, you have all these services, and you're able to expand, and then all of a sudden, nope, the grant's done, and
Right.
now it's on to the local share to,
And we try to keep it within, the dollar amount by having some restrictions on our programs too.
Right.
We only allow one non-medical a week just to take care of basic needs to go to the grocery store.
yeah,
So I tell people, if you need to do grocery shopping and banking and, prescriptions, you better go to a place that has all of those facets in one
yeah.
to take care of in that day. And then all your grocery bags on a, for the week, that's a lot to carry for a senior too. And we have restrictions right now just to keep up with the dollars that are available. I submitted the report, I won't go over the figures, you can look them over. We are on track, I believe, for the same operational figures as last year.
Okay.
Just a minor difference, I believe. Costs have gone up, just standard
Unfortunately,
gas
across
and
the board.
insurances
Yeah.
and labor and all the markets has expanded.
Okay,
Mike?
thank you. Oh, I didn't see Mike back there.
Oh.
I only saw
Wondered
Diane,
why-
I didn't even see you back
I'm
there.
the shorter one.
I swear I didn't. I'm sorry.
Mike Stanley from the Transit Administrator. I'd be glad to go over these numbers with you today, or I can do them tomorrow after the meeting, whichever works best for you.
Go over them right now if you have them.
Okay, now I've got some numbers for you,
Yeah.
both for Trumbull County Transit and WRTA.
Good.
So, through June, we've done 3,006. In June, we did 3,006 trips through Trumbull County Transit. Last year at this time, we did 3,130. Year to date, we're at 19,594. Year to date last year, we're at 18,729.
Right.
So the breakdown, 65 and older, 11,543. Under 65 is, 1,336. The total senior trips are 12,879. So you can see, senior trips are the main.
Obviously,
Running it,
yeah,
definitely.
we knew that, yeah.
And disabled, 6,715 trips. So
Yeah,
out of the,
You're saying all that, do you have any
Right.
handouts or anything, or do you want to
I
break?
have handouts, but I gotta go make some more copies.
That's okay,
Yeah,
you can update us tomorrow on those
No,
numbers,
I'll-
too, but I'm just having a hard time following you.
right, now I can update you tomorrow too.
Okay,
Give me 1 second.
yeah, that's fine. All right, well, while Mike does that, we'll come back to you, Mike, at the end, we'll get through this. Where do we leave off? 28. Okay, agenda item 28, to award a contract to Sexton and Associates Architects. That's how it's read, I guess, Sexton and Associates Architects, yeah. For preparing construction and bidding, documents for the new 4-H horse building located at the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, 899 Everett Hall Road, Portland, Ohio, in the amount of $10,050 using ARPA fund, listed, and the proposal has been reviewed and approved by the prosecutor's office. This is our ongoing effort to, revitalize and to, completely, allocate, funds towards our fairgrounds that is so desperately needed. A lot of those buildings need it. Bill, did you wanna talk about that a little bit, or?
Bill Hart, Trumbull County Maintenance, this is the last project for the ARPA funding for the fairgrounds. Hopefully we break ground and get started and opening for fair of next year.
That would be wonderful. And we've made significant progress out there. From the new bathrooms to everything we've done with the
Roofs, parking
with
lot.
the roofs, the parking lots, the stage, everything over the years. So, slowly but surely, we've chipped away at these things and we're making it, you know, completely fresh and new. So I appreciate your work there, Phil.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Agenda item 29, is to approve a school resource officer, agreement by and between the Trumbull County Commissioners, Trumbull County Sheriff Paul S. Monroe, and the Southington Local School District, Board of Education, and Southington Local School District, its buildings and activities, personnel, students, and public on site for the 2024-2025 academic fiscal year, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. The Southington Local School District agrees to pay the Trumbull County Sheriff's Office $63,578.58 due and payable at the end of the term of the contract. There has been, and before I turn it over to Major Villanueva, there's been a lot of talk about soft costs and these different things, and commissioners have brought this up.
Sure.
Are the soft costs covered here?
So, Major Tony Villanueva, Trumbull County Sheriff's Office, the SRO billed amount is at $63,578.58. That includes wages, PRS, Medicare, and insurance. And you add all that up, it comes to that $63,000. There is no vehicle 10%. There's no 10% added to our SRO contracts, but they are added to our township and village contracts. Typically, our SRO is just driving to the building, and it's parked there.
Yeah, he's not.
Any other, equipment usage, we're not gonna charge them for just carrying a taser around. We're not gonna charge them for the vest that the, deputy wears, because on the other 3 months out of the school year, that deputy is working in these buildings. They're working on the road. So that is why it is only the 70% of the 100% of, what a deputy would get paid.
Okay.
So
I mean, at the end of the day, we're not trying to gouge. We're trying to work with
No.
the schools. We're trying to provide a service.
Correct.
Is there, soft costs associated with that? It's probably de minimis when you talk about, when you look at it. I think obviously the big ticket items are the legacy costs that are wrapped into the wages,
And I do
and those
have,
are covered.
I do have that broken
Okay.
down. It's a couple copies for you guys as well. So the, Southington, SRO, that is just a renewal. And
Yes.
yes, it is July 1st, is when the contract started, technically, because their academic fiscal year. These contracts are pushed out beginning of May, and we're just getting them back now from the school boards, which typically they have meetings in May and June. It's just a matter of,
But and this is, I can't say this enough, we've talked about this
Yes.
with the prosecutor's office. He said it at public meetings, that just because this starts July 1st, it doesn't mean that, you can't provide the service until then
Yeah.
and backdate the contract. Because
yeah,
school boards don't meet all the time, or because, there are certain things that happen over the course of something where you can't control. So
Correct.
it's not to say that you're not gonna enter into a contract,
and we haven't provided any services because school is not in session.
Well, yes, but I mean, even just predating,
Yeah.
that notion that can't ever happen.
Yeah.
These agendas and what we do here is fluid. We try to
Yeah.
accommodate the services that we're providing. If that means
Correct.
backdating contracts, he said it in public meetings that that's okay.
And we do our best to get these out, like I said, right in May, and, we're just getting them back. We're waiting on one more, in fact. One other issue that we talked about, and I think the auditor's office would like to see, is that, typically our contracts have always been due and payable at the end of the term contract. We are going to change that for next year's contract, so that it's gonna be monthly, and I think that's just gonna
That will make things
That's gonna
cleaner,
clean-
yep.
that's gonna clean some things up. So that is already in our notes
Okay.
for, our next school year.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
And that'll go for all of these?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so, that segues into
Number 30.
number 30, which is,
Joseph Badger.
Yes, Joseph Badger, same thing. Obviously, for the police protection and services for Joseph Badger, local school district, they contract with our sheriff's department, at the amount of $63,578.58. Due and payable at the end of the term of the contract, but that's changing, as you mentioned.
Yes.
That will be changed, in the future. This action for the request of the Trumbull County Sheriff is subject to the review and approval of the prosecutor's office. But again, these are renewals, but nothing in the language has changed.
Nothing.
The dates have changed, that's it.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Major. Number 31, to approve contract, and this is another item that we had on last week that unfortunately did not pass, because we didn't have a consensus. The approved contract, is listed by and between Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services and JobWorks, Inc., which is doing business as JobWorks Education and Training Systems, in an amount not to exceed $441,000, $820, and 0 cents. The agreement will be effective for the term June 10th, 2024 through September 30th, 2024. John, can you talk about that once again?
Yes, John Gargano, JFS.
Unfortunately.
This is an agreement with, JobWorks, as they are the employer of record and payroll services for the 75 individuals that, would be working, and provides, them with work experience, also some, income through the, summer work experience. There was some issue last week, brought up by, a commissioner that said that she didn't, approve the bidders list. We explained to her that we follow the process, we follow the law. There is no, additional information to give them an unfair advantage, and even the Prosecutor Danzo, explained last week that he had no issue with it. So we're just asking for this to be approved this week.
So I think there's a misunderstanding of having a bidders list, contacting but not talking about
Correct.
the details of that would give a unfair advantage.
Yeah.
That's an assumption and a leap of logic that
Correct.
somebody's making.
And there's truly no, interaction. What we do is send out an email to those individuals on the bidders list, basically give them the basic information. This is going out to bid, this is the time, this is this.
Nothing, you're not sending the one that you're not sending the other.
Exactly, it all goes out the same, and plus, we still also, go out and put it in the general, paper of general jurisdiction for that period of time that is necessary in case there's somebody else out there.
So we advertise.
So we advertise it also.
Thank you, John. Good problem with it. Okay, and that, concludes our agenda today, in this very informal meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, yes. Mike, go ahead.
No, if you want, I can do the report tomorrow.
We can do that tomorrow it's probably best that the other two commissioners hear it as well.
Right, but I do have a couple other things I'd like to bring up, and then I can bring them up tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Right now, with the WRTA, there's approximately 9 months left.
Yes.
So what I would like to do, and again, I'll bring this up to tomorrow's meeting, to set up a public meeting. So my question would be when would be the best? Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. That tomorrow. And then I'll send an email to Dean Harris, find out what days he's available. We have a public meeting here, because I was at the, City of Warren Council meeting on the 24th, which happened to be their last one. Gave them the numbers for WRTA, and a couple of council people said, we gotta continue moving on this if we wanna continue transportation.
That was always the intent since the beginning,
Right.
we know where the bulk of the rides are coming from, and we obviously wanna be a partner in this, and we would like to contribute, but I think the City of Warren realizes that now too, that they might, that if we wanna continue this service, it's gotta be a joint effort between, multiple entities, and,
Right.
That's something we can
So
discuss
I'll
at the
bring this
meeting.
up tomorrow.
And I'd like to have the City of Warren there too.
Right, no, that's
Possible.
definitely, the City of Warren would be there. The other,
Does this system impact senior transportation?
Sure.
Because people have the bus lines to use instead of
Absolutely.
We should think
And I-
those, it would even be greater if we didn't have the DRTA.
I'd like to see those numbers tomorrow when you,
No,
when you
I'll
bear
get
them all
them to
out,
everybody.
because that's gonna tell us a lot too.
After the meeting, I mean, after you're part of the meeting, I'll do it.
Yeah.
The other part I wanted to bring up, as you know, Trumbull County Transit is part of a company called NeoRide.
Yes.
NeoRide is doing, it's called I'm calling it one stop, they call it Easy Connect for here, which would be one phone call, one place for our clients, and then scheduling a thing. We're getting close to that. Right now, we're looking at either the end of the year, first part of next year, started. Ours is a little different than everybody else's because of our vendors, so that's why I said, put us off to the end, because ours is different.
But I think that is so
It's
imperative.
gonna be huge.
That's what we're missing,
Right.
is that one-stop call center that instead of going to different entities, this is the dispatch center and they're doling out the
They'll
rest.
dole it out. So continuing with that, part of the Easy Connect is a customer service complaint that we can be part of. For Trumbull, for the transit stuff, I'm only having 3 or 4 complaints, so it's not really worth it for me to do this. But they actually have a software to track complaints. The first year is free. So it's okay, again, I'm gonna bring this up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I know you need to. But if it's okay with you, and I've already talked to the, company, what I would like to do is be able to open this up to, other, department heads. And they would be part of the system, and that way they could track complaints. So the way it works, what I've seen so far is, person calls in with a complaint, they're assigned a number. And then you type in the information into a software system. It's all right there, you type in the complaint, and then you follow through with it. So instead of writing it down by hand, or however you're doing, like mine is an Excel spreadsheet, you know, this is all gonna be in a computerized system, and we could track all the complaints possibly for the entire county.
So this is obviously very techie software or whatever,
Right.
but what does something like this cost?
Okay, so the first year is free.
Right.
Second year, I've been told, will be $1,500. But we could try it for the first year, see if we want it or not, and then make the decision in the second year.
I think it's obviously a very positive thing. We'd have to, I would be in favor of using it for a year at no obligation and seeing if it works, and
Right.
if we're able to cut down on some of the redundancies or whatever, we can,
Yeah, so
well worth it. No, that's a great,
yeah, as all part of the Easy Connect that I've been part of for the last several years, and I think it's starting to pay off with Easy. But I need to get our NeoRide.
but and I'll continue to say it, I haven't had one complaint about senior transportation. And that wasn't the case 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Right.
Not one at our office. Lisa didn't get any, we used to be inundated with calls about transportation.
Where?
I haven't gotten one in probably at least a year and a half.
Well, like I
So
said,
it speaks to what you guys are doing there. And we're doing it at a reduced cost, which is even,
And like I report at the advisory committee's meeting, I've had 3 or 4 complaints, that's it. The other complaints I'm getting are basically specifically on a specific dispatcher for a company. I can apologize, I can try and work things out, but again, it's
Yeah.
that company that I tell them,
but that's why it's so important to have central dispatching
right,
in this, and if we could get that, it
Right.
clears up all that, because you don't have this sort of, unfair advantage of one company taking a call and not getting a call, and,
we're doing
you know,
whatever, yeah.
so that would eliminate that. Hopefully that's,
Right, so we'll figure out,
something
as
in-
things go
in the pipe.
along with this, I will let you know exactly what we're gonna be doing with how it's gonna fit in.
okay,
Thank you.
Mike. Look forward to seeing those numbers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Allen is here, I know you,
I got a couple things.
okay,
James Allen, CEO of Allen Way Farms. Got a problem with the Trumbull County Water and Sewer Department. I get a bill every month from a water bill. We pay it faithfully, every month, on time, everything. About a year, it was the first of the year, we noticed a change in our billing with the price and all that. And here I remodeled the barn right then and there. And I figured with what I did with the barn changing, with the water system for the birds that affected the bill. So I emailed Gary Newbrow, and he did an internal audit. And it comes back that they're saying that they underbilled me for 17 months' use of water. So instead of coming out with invoicing, they handwrite on the bills and pencil, how do I know this is legit? And I feel that it is, and they've admitted it, that it's their fault. So I feel that I shouldn't be obligated to pay this whole chunk of money back.
So you were underbilled for a period of time.
That's what they're showing, but we paid the bill every month.
Right.
So, and I just feel that Gary and Matt Blair there is not, somebody in their office is not doing the job right.
Gary, you wanna?
Yeah, Commissioner.
What happened here, Commissioners, is that, the whole reason we built the project here was we wanted a large customer. He's the equivalent of about 50 residential houses.
I remember.
Yeah, and plus we picked up 5 or 6 other ones along the route. And the whole idea was that, this project would help stabilize the rates for the other people in the districts having a large customer like that. 'Cause that's what we need in a new district like that, is more customers. For his operation, he needs what's called a compound meter. And what that does is that when you have a large flow customer, he has a 2-inch meter, and when he has a lot of demand on the system, it reads that flow through that 2-inch meter. But that 2-inch meter is not accurate when the flow is slow. So you have to have a smaller meter in there. You have another 5/8 inch there, and when the flow is lower, it goes through that 5/8 inch meter. So the combination of the flow that goes through the 2 meters, that's his total consumption that goes onto the water bill. What happened was that, the meter readers, they go out, they can read both sides of the meter, they get the readings, we have the data, we know what they read. But when takes his meter gun and takes it and plugs it into the billing system software, there's a cable that connects the two, it downloads into the billing software. The new billing software that we got as part of that Munis switchover, it was only picking up the reading off of 1 meter. Okay, so his billing, if you look at the spreadsheet that started back in December of 2022, per his agreement with us, he was supposed, the rate was established at $12.83 per 1,000 gallons, but he was only being billed at the equivalent rate of $3.49. So, the district itself, instead of the entire purpose of the project, which was to help stabilize the rates or reduce the rates of the residents out there, it's actually costing us more. When it comes down to it, he should have been billed $23,252 for his usage, throughout this approximately 18 months, and he only was billed about $6,320, leaving a balance of $16,931.74. I regret that this happened. I can't blame my personnel for it. It was a glitch in the billing software and when we became aware of it, that's when we sent him a revised bill. And that's when he called in and said, "Why did my bill go up so high?" Our people had caught it, and so as soon as they caught the next bill that went out, they gave him the actual bill of how much it was supposed to be, and then they started the calculations on how much the back bill was. So what it comes down to is that, we're not a for-profit company, we are a water district where it's a conglomeration of all the participants within the district, and that he did agree to pay $12.83 per 1,000 for his water. He used over 1.8 million gallons over this time, and and that he did receive the water, and it's, my position that he should pay for it. I regret that it has to be backfilled like this. We've agreed to, come up with a payment arrangement with him if he wants to pay it off over time. And that, if he doesn't pay it, I don't think it's fair that the other people in the district are gonna be paying for his water at the chicken farm.
When you say you've come up with a payment scale, what does that look like? I mean, that's a significant amount of money.
Well, that could be arranged with Bob. We can, you know, if you wanna pay this off over a year or 18 months, or we can come up with something acceptable on both sides in order to go ahead and get payment for the water that he used at the rate he agreed to pay for it.
Has the prosecutor looked at this yet?
Matt and his lawyer have been going back and forth, and, there's been some letters between the two of them. You can see, I think I attached it to our little, the next two sheets after that spreadsheet, these are the two letters that went back and forth between, Mr. Allen's lawyer and, Matt Blair.
I guess it's one of those situations where, you know, you're gonna impact somebody on either way you go with this, because obviously Mr. Allen used the water at a, not to say he didn't use it, but he just used it at a different rate. I just worry about the precedent that sets if we were to just forgive the amount that, because of the error with Munis and all that, the precedent that sets moving forward. Not to mention the people that have been, you know, obviously if he doesn't pay, they're negatively affected by this.
Yes.
So, this is a difficult situation, and I think the prosecutor's office should at least look at it. I don't wanna say any more about it right now, because it does come into, you know, obviously, any sort of litigation, yes. I mean, which we're hoping we don't have to do that. But, if that's the case, then I think it's best that our prosecutor, take a look at this.
I got one other thing with
Yes.
this too. So I'm in the process, you guys, the commissioners, township trustees, and, Randy Smith's office will be getting a registered letter, probably today. I'm in the process of expanding Allen Way Farms, investing $800,000 into the farm again. So, here it is. Yeah, I might increase my water by 33% with this expansion, or I have another option. I can go back to well water. It's on a different property, different everything, but I'm here to work. I'm here to stay in Trumbull County. I can invest this money in another county if I want. And I'm working with Nick here, trying to get, what was it called, Nick?
The email from management,
Yes.
that's tax increment financing.
To maybe do an improvement on Hudson Road from 534 to the farm. Because we are increasing truck traffic from 136 trucks a month, semi-trucks, to 168 semi-trucks a month. So we are increasing production, but we're not creating jobs, because it's on the farm and it's all automated, but it's all contracted. But we're here to invest in the county.
Well, I think all those factors need to be looked at in totality by legal, you know. I'm not an attorney. I wanna do what's right by, obviously, a business in Trumbull County, but I also wanna do what's right for people in the district. So, I think that we need to forward it to Bill Danzo and have him look at it. As one commissioner, that's what I'm
Now,
requesting
let me
right
ask you a
now.
question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have, I've noticed over the years, don't you guys have insurance for things like this?
No,
Policies?
Not.
Because it's equipment, because here it is, it's a computer problem, so it should go back to the computer software programs problem too.
No,
Stuff like that, you know what I mean?
and I certainly see your point of view on it, because it's not your mistake, is what you're saying. You know, why should you have to pay for it, sort of thing, but at the same time, it's undeniable that you did use that water, and we did sign for that amount. So I think there's a lot here, it's a convoluted issue that, legal needs to look at and sort out for the Board of Commissioners. That's my opinion, but we can ask, you can ask
All right,
the other
well,
commissioners.
that's what we'll do, Commissioner.
Yeah,
We'll
if we could
send it
forward
down
this
there.
over to the prosecutor's office.
Matt, we'll get it down to the prosecutor's office, get their opinion on it.
And, you know, you can't deny it, he's expanding a business, he's, obviously one of our largest users. And, you know, we ran the project out there for you, you know, because we knew the amount of water that you're gonna be using for the chicken farm, so, you know, I don't wanna make that call because I think it's a legal call, to be honest with you, so, but I do feel for you. I put myself in that situation, so I wouldn't be none too happy either, but, see what the prosecutor says.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trumbull. Yes, Shelley.
Good morning to all those who are present. Commissioner Calhoun, I just need to know, I just wanted to give an update,
Yes.
regarding the, food bag event on Sunday, August 18th from 1 to 4 at Perkins Park. I have the information, regarding, Commissioner Malloy, was asking me if he could send volunteers. And so I have information regarding, the requirements for the volunteers, okay? I didn't know if you want me to give it today, I can always give it tomorrow based on time constraints.
Whatever you're comfortable with. If you're gonna be here tomorrow, you can. I mean, it's, or today, I mean, it's a public meeting, so.
All right, 5 minutes.
Hold on real quick before you do that.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Sorry I'm late, we had court
You're
proceedings, but I am here now, and you started the meeting at the regularly scheduled time without a quorum. But Lisa, for the record, can you please note that I am here and present, and now we do have a quorum to continue on with the meeting, that was prescribed at the beginning of the year for this date and time. Now with a quorum present, it's the official meeting from this point on. And that was according to legal counsel advice.
Yes, and as you mentioned, Commissioner, when I started the meeting, I said it's gonna be an informal meeting. It's not an official meeting, we do not have a quorum, but as you mentioned right now.
But at this point, Lisa, can you please call roll again, just to be doubly safe and sure, the full disclosure?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Frenchco.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Johnson.
That's all right,
Just wanna make sure we do everything legal.
No, that's what we expect that from you.
Yep. And state your name again and,
Sure. My name is Shelley Jackson, and, I need to give information regarding those who want to volunteer on Sunday, August 18th for the, book bag event. And it will be from 1 to 4 p.m. at Perkins Park. And so there will be 2 meetings for those who want to volunteer. And the first meeting will be Friday, August 9th, at Perkins Park at 5 p.m. And that's to look at the area at Perkins Park to set up the events that are going to be taking place. The second meeting will be Thursday, August 17th, at the Trumbull County Library. And it will be at 5 p.m. And that meeting will, allow those who are in charge to give assignments to those who are volunteering and stuff. Now, there is a request for the volunteers to have, T-shirts. And the T-shirts are for those volunteers who are going to be, where if a child gets disconnected from a parent, they can go to the ones who have the green T-shirts on and say, I can't find my mom or my dad or aunt and uncle, okay? But there's a charge for the T-shirts. The T-shirts, the small, the medium, the large, and the extra large are $15. And then the sizes 1X to 5X are $20. Now, the person you can contact is, Pastor Kent Barnes, and that's 330-979-2414. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelley.
Yes.
Appreciate you, as always. Looking forward to the event. Anyone else? Oh, Martha, yes. ARPA.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. Before I get to the ARPA, I do want to just give a little bit of an update on, the Vienna fiscal emergency, so people are aware
Yeah.
of what this process now continues to do. by statute, there's a financial planning and supervision commission that is formed, is being formed right now. I spoke with the Office of Budget and Management last week about this. The members of this commission, first of all, that the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission, their duty will be to, approve or reject a financial plan that the, township has to come up with. It's my understanding the auditor state will assist them in coming up with that plan. The committee, or the commission, is made up of the treasurer of state, Mr. Sprague, or his designee, the Office of Budget and Management, a representative from there, and they will, the Office of Budget and Management designee is the chair of the commission. A member of the Board of Trustees, myself or my designee, and I've made the decision to serve myself rather than appoint a designee. The governor has appointed a member. Commissioner Malloy, remind me of his name.
Mike Hillman.
Thank you. And the township trustees last night appointed 2 members from the community as well as a member of their board. So the commission itself has been formed. The person from the Office of Budget Management is actually on vacation this week. Next week, he will be working to schedule our first meeting. So I just wanted folks to know where we were at with that. Moving on to ARPA.
Appreciate that.
Eligible, ineligible, and updates. Girard Community Committee to Senior Services was found eligible and is on your agenda. The Eastgate broadband was found eligible. Do you want that on the agenda next week?
Yes, please.
Fowler Township was found eligible, and I want to note with Fowler Township, this is for a culvert. So a lot of people get confused and think, well, that's a road project, and we had some issues, but it's actually a drainage project, so it's automatically eligible. Do you want that on the agenda next week?
Yes.
The City of Hubbard generator for wastewater plant is eligible. Also on this one, it's important to note that this is a wastewater project, and that's why the generator itself is eligible. She did write the resolution and agreement with the original asked amount of $435,610. My notes in my spreadsheet say that you both wanted, or that the board wanted $300,000. So, that was actually, and that's the amount I have allocated. Yeah. You want it on the agenda next week at $300,000.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes, please.
And I've worked with Attorney Rogers as well on this, and,
Is that Hubbard City or Hubbard Township?
Hubbard
Hubbard
City.
City.
Hubbard City. And there's the things that are still pending, and I put some notes from Attorney Rogers on here for you. The Kyler Foundation, which is the Colberg Lake Dam study, she had said to me before that she had not heard from, Mr. Tidrow, since she had sent something, and I'll give you the date on that in a second. She is going to, look and see if maybe she missed something, because he had said to you that he had sent things in. And then if she does have anything from the Ohio EPA, she's gonna work with the EPA directly to get more clarity on it. The USS Oklahoma RIP, there's been no response from them. Family and Community Services for scope, it looks like it's probably going to be eligible, but she's sort of working out those details as far as, whether it really is or not. She hasn't heard back from them. Howland Township also looks like it's eligible, but there's, some complications there as far as, it kind of giving the grant to the township doesn't quite make sense, but it's because it was actually operated by the church, but they're sort of restructuring it right now, so she's trying to figure out those details. The other Hubbard City one, Attorney Rogers missed that one in the email that I originally sent, so she's looking at that now. So my questions for you with regard to those that I just talked about, on Colberg Lake and the USS Oklahoma, do we just want to remove them for her consideration? And here's my reasoning on this. With the USS Oklahoma, her last email to them, and I was CC'd on this, was 6/6/24. So it's 2 months ago, and she's not received anything from them. And as you noted, it looks to be that they're closed over there. So I don't know what you want to do with that. And on Colberg Lake, and you may want to wait on this one because she is looking into it a little bit more, her last email to him, and I was CC'd on this one as well, was 5/7/24, so almost 3 months ago. and she doesn't believe that she ever received any response, though she was gonna double check.
I'd like to move them both on the yes, and maybe put them both, just drop them back in the maybes.
Okay,
Put them in the back of the pack, so we're not wasting time.
all right, and I'm going to,
every week.
I am gonna check, just touch base with her, just to make sure with the, Colberg Lake that she didn't find anything, all right? And if she did, I'll bring that back to you.
I was approached by somebody at the St. Patrick's Festival about Colbert Lake and the status of that.
Well,
I know
we
that there's,
don't,
I know,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, I know it's important to that community, but we need to have communication between them and our attorney,
Absolutely.
so, yeah, let's move them to the maybe until
Okay.
we hear back from them.
all right,
Right.
for,
just don't want Tanya every week billing us. No.
right.
To revise the thing over and over again,
Right,
let them, when they come back, that's right, then we can move it back up again.
For Gustavus, when we spoke last week, I had moved the cemetery surveying project, which had been on the maybe list, to the bottom of the yes list, and adjusted the frozen amount. This is one where we had frozen a certain amount. They asked us to take it and put it on the yes list.
Where's that one at? That's on the,
That's on the bottom, yeah.
or the top.
Yeah. For Bezetta, the county engineer, the prosecutor's office, and Attorney Rogers are working together on the agreement, as well as any waiver which may be needed. It's my understanding that Attorney Rogers will not need a waiver because she does not, if you recall, the waiver was so that she could represent both the county and the township in this. She doesn't represent the township in anything. She did check that.
Okay.
The prosecutor's office, Bezetta Township actually has an outside counsel, but the prosecutor's office is speaking with Bezetta right now to determine whether for this particular project that they would represent. If that's the case, we'll need to do a waiver like we did. But they haven't, to my knowledge, that hasn't been decided. You're given the updated yes sheet, and the bottom line spreadsheet is right there.
Perfect. Thank you. I had a question, this weekend too, Auditor Yoder, and I will refer him to you. I have his number back in my office, but somebody from the Bezetta Optimist Club was asking about, I know we voted on that, and, you know, frankly, he's saying, you know, where's our check, you know, so.
Well,
And that's-
actually,
I know
he
we
needs
get
to
that
talk
a lot.
to your office now.
Okay, okay. So Commissioner, you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, the name on the W-9 was different than the name on there, so we And changed we it and redid it. voted to That's do it. right.
Right.
So there probably is a check sitting there waiting for him.
Right,
That's
and
good thinking.
And Chrissy from your office is handles that part of this,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
So, once we get everything approved and I get all of that, your office, Shara and Chrissy handle the, getting all the documents, and cause I was with her with regard to this because of the issue with that, we actually met with two of the people from the Optimist Club
okay,
in trying to get this all sorted out prior to putting it on the agenda.
okay.
And at that time, she, I believe, gave them the new documents to fill in correctly with the correct stuff, so,
Okay,
it'll
maybe he
be-
wasn't aware of that.
yeah, and I know
didn't-
sometimes,
completely.
you know what, I, sometimes with nonprofits, and I'm a regent of a club that's a nonprofit, sometimes there's not always the best communication between
Yeah.
members. So, and we have that with trustees too, for some reason, but, just saying. But, yeah, so Chrissy will be working with you,
Okay,
right?
great, thank you.
Okay, a couple of things I had, Commissioner.
Yes,
First of all, after, we realized last week in, my absence, there was a dispute of who runs the meeting, who does whatever. So I'd like to make a motion here that in my absence, that, Commissioner Kendall Mesa serve as Vice Chair, Vice President of the Board. So if we have a quorum, I'm not here, we know who's gonna run the meeting.
I'll second it.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Angela Mesa.
Yes. Thank you.
Secondly, cell tower seems to be the big buzz with the fairgrounds, so I know Bill and, you guys have talked. Let's keep that going, because I understand, from Cortland yesterday that they were approached by Verizon to put a tower up somewhere on the east side of the lake. They're looking at property for Verizon to put a tower up. And I think if we had a tower on the west side, that would serve the east side and west. And not that we're trying to beat out a private landowner for the, you know, the first tower or whatever, but let's keep this ball rolling, because it sounds like there is inquiries where they do want a tower in Bezetta now, or Cortland area, Bezetta Township, so if one of you, or both of you guys can follow up on that appreciate it. Italian Fest starts this week. Are we, did we figure out whose booth and
Yep.
manning and staffing?
Marcia, Trumbull County Auditor, yes, I, have gone ahead and gotten the booth, and I've arranged with that. We actually have worked with my staff and Commissioner's staff, for a schedule, so we have that set up. We have some other details we need to iron out. I don't know what all you still have from the fair for some of your departments, but if we wanna have that stuff included, we need to deal with that. I also mentioned this morning because Mr. Hickey happened to be in my office, that I was doing that, and he's going to either bring it to you guys or to me, anything that he may have.
Okay. Parking lot, did we do anything on that?
I mean, I don't have good news for you.
Right.
That's what you
No, but we have some news,
Yeah, we do. Alex Stephen Jonesy Bush, I am prepared with that today, as well as some other things, so I'll do that, and then I'll get to HR stuff at the end. So essentially, what happened was the RFP was put out, in absence of an administrator. Obviously, I wasn't here either when the RFP was put out. I was on, medical leave. So the part that I was missing was, first of all, too, I would like to state for the record, HR wasn't given the actual RFP response until June 25th. On that day, it was sent immediately over to Corsa. So again, I just want to make sure that we're speaking the facts here. With that being said, it looks like the RFP response was time-stamped in on June 1st. So there was a lack in HR getting that response. I can only do so much if I'm given the stuff, so you've got to bring me in quicker. Okay, so with that being said, I did reach out to Corsa, obviously, and they are very concerned about the verbiage. Once I got that information back from them, what I decided to do was the only way to be sure about whether we were doing this legally, properly, was to go back to look at the RFP myself. So I went back to the RFP. I found very clearly in the RFP, and I did reach out to the prosecutor for them to concur with my, obviously I'm not a lawyer, I don't pretend to be, so I always make sure that I defer to our prosecutor's office, but they agreed. The RFP, was very clear that the person who was to be bidding on this was to provide insurance, okay? What that does for our county, if we entertain this one and only bid, is it the best bid then? That's up to you guys, because really, would other people have bid knowing that they didn't have to provide insurance? So I have to be, there's concerns here, a lot of concerns. I have that prosecutor's opinion here for you. I highly encourage you to look at that. My thing is, if you wanna go forward with this, okay, Corsa will be an additional insurer only. What that means is, we don't own the property, we're not taking on full liability for it, period. They will not do it. I knew that was, I was pretty confident that was gonna be the answer. I deal with this enough to know what they will and won't do. So you have two options. My options, of course, you can talk to the prosecutor about this, but I think you may need to put it out to bid and say that maybe you wouldn't entertain, or you would entertain bids without insurance. Then that way, anybody can bid on it, right? Because what you kind of did was said you had to have insurance, but then he's saying, I don't want to provide insurance. So if you entertain that bid, that you could potentially get yourself into some liability here.
But Corsa won't insure anyway, so we have to do it this way.
They will insure it as an additional insurer. So if we go
Right.
back to Mr. Valesky and say, you
Correct,
did
what I'm
not.
saying, to rebid it without insurance doesn't do anything, because we can't insure it anyway then.
Correct.
So, this is our bid, we need to go to Mr. Valesky, and basically, if he'll provide insurance, then we can negotiate the price and accept the deal. If he's not willing to do that, we can't accept the deal.
Right.
So that makes it pretty simple, clear
Yeah,
cut.
I mean, at least you have an answer,
Right.
you know?
And hopefully, I mean, with the price we have there and stuff, hopefully there's room for that, and we do
Yeah.
it that way, we go on as an additional and provide the service to the customers.
Yeah, it was very clear in the RFP that, they were to provide professional liability insurance policy coverage, so, yes, it was very clear.
Okay, I guess, who wants to make that phone call, Mr. Valesky? I guess I'll make that phone call, Mr. Valesky.
Well, I have a simple answer for you. If you were paying me to be your administrator, I would absolutely do it, but I'm not. So therefore, I'm not gonna take on that liability. However, I did the work for you, so here's my
Where's
gift.
Mike Salamone? Mike here with us?
Just
Mike,
saying this, so I
Yeah.
can do it.
that's kind of transportation related, you wanna make a phone call for us? I'll go ahead and call him.
I mean, I'm sorry, it is what it is, I have to protect this county, I said it last week too, Faith. I have to
if that's
protect
of course
this
it
county
says, of course it says.
liability. Well,
So
and I have to
yes,
protect the board from potentially getting into an RFP or RFQ, we have to follow policies and procedures, so.
Oh,
It is
we
what
know
it
that. Okay, and then, last thing I had is we had our Mosquito Lake Economic Summit Friday morning. It was out of Mosquito Lake. Kudos to Beth Carmichael for putting this all together in her department. She's been promoting tourism on the lake. Her and I have been working together with the city of Cortland and, the mayor and their special events coordinator for probably 4 months about, hey, let's get the people together to talk about Mosquito Lake. So she did the invite list. We had representative from Sherrod Brown's office, Senator Vance's office, Congressman Joyce's office. We had, two a state rep and a state rep to be. We had representatives from the Warren Water Department, the Warren Safety Services. We had trustees from Bezetta and Mecca, and, people from the state parks, from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, from there were like 5 people from the Corps of Engineers, the Assistant Chief of State Parks in Columbus, someone with the Bureau of Legislative Affairs with the Governor's Office, and with the DNR. So basically, it was all the power brokers. There were more than 50 people there. There's more that I'm missing and a lot of media. And we did presentations from all the different entities that have a say about Mosquito Lake. My presentation regarding the commissioners was the tourism numbers that we have there and what the needs we have to make the lake have some type of economic activity more than what we've had in the last 30 years. And my comment there was we have less now than we did then. We have restaurants that are closing in Mecca. The restaurant there has been closed for years. The grocery store is now swapping hands, and it's like a ghost town there. We've lost other businesses around the lake. We lost the Lake Tavern, of course, due to fire. But we get the 1.5 million people to come here to the lake for the day, and there's nowhere for them to spend their money, and there's nowhere for them to stay, lake region-wise. So we discussed that. We discussed issues, even with the fairgrounds, with lack of infrastructure. So that seemed to be the big key point, was getting infrastructure to do the next step. And, that's where kind of Gary comes in, and we gotta put our creative thinking caps on to do better in the future, not Gary personally, but us as a county, working with all these powers that be for federal and state money to try to get some infrastructure, up to the Mecca Circle area at least, so that anyone can even have a shot at developing anything or any type of viable business or any type of economic development in that region. When we finished up with that, food was catered, and provided by Tourism Bureau, and then we had, 3 pontoon boats, and we split the guests up and took them on pontoon rides around the lake to show them where we have the marinas, to show them the properties we have that are state park and federally owned, open spaces where there could be potential for some type of economic impact. Really cool trip. Everybody was extremely happy when they were done. We opened a lot of eyes, and the big gist of when we were done is now everybody knows the players. Now as we move forward, we know who to call. We know the number for the right congressman, for the right senator, for the right water department people, so we can move this thing forward. And this isn't about developing Mosquito Lake. We're not gonna turn Mosquito Lake into an amusement park or anything. But we had 7,000 acres of water and, 26 miles of shoreline, and a lot of it miles and miles and miles of nothing. And there are horse trails, there are already things there. We can't have cabins till we have water and sewer. We can't have a new restaurant till we have septic. Dollar General is the only real business we've got in the last 20 years on that lake. One at the north end of the lake, one at the south end of the lake, and that's because their corporate can afford a $250,000 septic system. Where a regular business, family restaurant or something can't come in and expect to do that, with the rules, regulations, and laws we have. People there from the EPA and everybody else are very receptive to, hey, we can help, let's do this, let's move forward. And so I look forward to continuing this on. Again, I wanna thank Beth for spearheading this thing and putting it together. Valuable asset we have here in Trumbull County and her. But everybody that participated in it, was a pretty awesome event, and by the end, I think, everybody's hopeful that it's time, that we gave that center part of the county some love, and here from the county level, there's definitely a glaring impact that we're starting to spend money in Kinsman and Bloomfield, and this ARPA money's really helped us reach out to the rest of the county, going right up the gut between the infrastructure stuff, the fiber, broadband. You know, it's time that we make some progress in our county and not have the divide of the lower third and the northern two-thirds, the way that it is, so. I'll keep you abreast of when the next meeting is, the next thing that we do, but it was a great meeting. And a lot of good media coverage too, you may have seen even the Business Journal and the Tribune had some really good articles about it and stuff, and captured kind of the essence of the day. I think that's all that I have, then. Alex, you have?
Go back, sorry. Alex Stephen-Jones, Bush, Human Resources Department. I am getting a little bit of pushback, Commissioners, which is a little concerning. So we have the Auditor of State. This is not Alex's training. Let me just preface with that. There's some confusion. There are things that HR is going to put out that everybody does have to comply with. If we don't comply with certain trainings, we get audited. If we get audited, guess who fixes it? Me. So HR, our Martha can attest to this. I've been looped into 2 audits that, you know, are things that I'm saying we need to do. We have to pay attention. Personnel checklist, you have to have, so that one email has been sent out again. It is extremely important. I need everybody, not just those under the commissioners. I need every entity in this county. I have to be HR for everybody, so therefore I really need everybody to pay attention to communications that are coming out. So first thing is personnel checklist. Please, 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 everybody, read that email, and you have to get on that ASAP. You should not have, you've got to pay attention to where you're putting items. There's HIPAA items, there's I-9s, we're dealing with immigration services. There's so many things that HR touches. We have to get control of that if you house your own personnel files within your own entity or within your own building, okay? The next thing is the Auditor of State training. That's mandatory. This is mandatory for everybody, down to the county employee, down to a part-time employee. If you are on county payroll, period, you have to complete this training.
Including public officials.
Including public officials, thank you.
Says Martha Yoder.
Yes. So I sent this out, guys.
It says Auditor of State, not Martha.
It's a 7-minute, yes, thank you. It's the Auditor of State.
The statute actually says, the
Yeah, so
statute
this is
actually.
actually per the this is for the ORC, guys. I mean, these aren't things I've gotten a lot of, well, we don't have computers. Well, we don't have this. Well, we don't have that. Okay, well, find a way or figure it out. Come to see me, whatever we need to do, we need to do. But it's a non-negotiable, and we will get audited on these things, and we have got audited on these things in the past. So I just am kindly asking that, if we send something out, please pay attention to it. I can see who reads the emails. I have a read receipt on every single email. I hate to be that way. It's a lot for me to manage, but I can see who's, reading these emails and who's not. You have to partake in trainings that come from HR. It's not just for funsies. There's legal aspects to this, okay? So with that being said, you have to have this completed by September 28th. Not only do you have to have it completed, you as department heads and elected officials need to monitor. You need to print off their form that they did it and sign it and place it in their personnel file, which means you need to communicate back with HR if we hold your personnel files. So there is a lot of things that goes into 1,600 county employees in this county. I don't have time to chase everybody. Then the last part of that is I'm in 3 contract negotiations right now, 3 very big contract negotiations right now, and I only have a team of 2. So please have some grace and just work with me is all I'm asking. Thank you.
We also have we had a meeting here a month and a half back or so with the, park board and the trustees from Warren Township. And, we agreed at that time to go ahead forward with a study, a second independent dam study. We all sat here and agreed at the table, let's just hold off until we get the study, then we'll regroup and look at it. I was advised that, Zach over the parks was inquiring about moving some money around and getting some money applied toward some services and dam removal for some of the contractors. So I called him, and he said that he was never under any guidance from his board to back off at all, to slow things down at all. And I told him, I said, Zach, you were at the meeting we had, where we agreed to this. You saw what the board said, that was, we had an agreement here when we left, not a memorandum, not a contractual thing, but we all agreed to do that. And he said, well, my board never told me to stop doing anything, so I'm moving forward with it. And I was a little upset when I got the call with him, and he said, you know, we gotta talk to his board then. He said, his board hasn't told him anything differently, so he listens to his board. So, we need to reach out again to the board members and say, hey, wait a minute, we're at the final stages of this dam study. We should have it any day now. And if they're advising him to move forward, or they never advise him to put the brakes on, I got a real problem with that. And if the individual board members are the ones that are telling him that and ignored what we said here and ignored what we agreed to here, and then they're doing behind our back, and not our back, commissioner's back, but behind the public's back and the other entities, then I have a problem with that we're gonna have to deal with. So, just bring you up to speed on that they can't say one thing and do the other, and if that's what they're gonna do, then, you know, we need to step up on our end of what we can do to get that department in line, and get them to play well with others. I mean, Zach's under us, but he's under the board, but his department is under us, and his funding is under us, and, he's not handling it the right way right now. At least, that's not the answer I wanted to hear from him.
So Commissioners Alex, Stephen, John C. Bush, I mean, kind of welcome to my world. That's not what I'm saying in that, but it is interesting. So I think we all just need to realize sometimes not everybody under the commissioners, they have their own boards, they have their own, you know, and that does become very hard to kind of play nice in the sandbox sometimes. But at the end of the day, there's something that I really need to stress, and maybe this kind of goes back to the training that I was just trying to reiterate. Your paycheck is coming from Trumbull County. You are a Trumbull County employee. I understand people have their own boards, and I understand they have a little bit more, you know, leverage, and I understand that. But something that I try to take the mentality approach is that we are all Trumbull County employees. We're all paid, and our checks are signed by the Trumbull County auditor. For the most part, outside of two people in this county, two entities in this county, you all have Trumbull County health insurance, correct? I mean, I'm pretty sure I negotiate that for y'all. We all need to work together. That's just something that I can't emulate enough, and I think that we're getting there, slowly but surely, right? We're all realizing, you know, certain things hit the general fund. Actually, a lot of this funding hits the general fund, which is owned, you know, largely in part by the commissioners. So we all just need to make sure that we're doing our part, and that's what HR is here to help do. So if there's anything, you know, that I can assist with, but, you know, we kind of have to get away from that, mentality of thinking, I have my own board, I can do what I want. That's not really the truth. I'm sorry. We all need to work together, and we all need to do what's best for the interests of Trumbull County. Thank you. That's it. Mic drop, I don't know, but we can move on now.
Well, I gotta make a comment too, I see Mr. Allen's here. How many chickens do you have there at any given time?
Oh, boy.
Right now, I'm 0.
We're not ready yet.
We just shipped 145,000 last Friday morning.
All right, so you had 145,000 chickens, but I gotta recognize him because I talked to a couple of 4-H'ers that said he bought their chickens in the 4-H sale. So a guy who owns 145,000 chickens and still buying chickens to help 4-H, I applaud you for that, and I appreciate you being involved with the agriculture community the way you do.
But I'm in the process of expanding the operation.
Yeah, you
We'll have over
you
200,
missed that.
a little over 200,000 birds there.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah, there's about 600 tons in there right now.
Anybody else have anything for the good of Trumbull County, anything that's thrown on the table, anything needs addressed?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second that?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Does this picture show?
I-